Beyond the Mic with Sean Dillon.
We're joined on the Starline by one of the first 50 intimacy coordinators recognized as qualified by SAG and AFTRA. Her book, The Intimacy Coordinator's Guidebook, is now out. We welcome Brooke Haney.
Hi, Sean. Thanks for having me.
Brooke, let's go beyond the mic. John Cena in a well-placed modesty garment. 50 Shades of Grey, work by intimacy coordinators, help actors being able to act without feeling uncomfortable about it all hanging out. Why was this such an important concept for you to cover in this book?
I'm so glad you asked. I think it's such an important concept because we want to see the best possible storytelling, right? So in my book, The Intimacy Coordinator's Guidebook, I start with what are the basics? What are the foundations for an intimacy coordinator that we all have to have so that those moments can happen with ease on the day?
Your works, Kiss Me or Cut Off My Head and Now What, show you care about diverse topics.
Yeah.
How did working in regional theater help you help others feel comfortable in fairly uncomfortable situations?
Oh, man, you've done your research, Sean. Those projects were particularly important to me because advocacy has always been a part of my artistry, which is why I think intimacy coordination has been exactly the right job for me. It's the advocacy, the standing up for people's boundaries mixed with the art of choreography and storytelling. And those are things I've always cared about and felt really passionate about, and they got to all come together in this job.
Now, there's a balance between boundaries and consent and the trust the actors have for you and working with you. How do you balance their needs and the needs of the production without sacrificing quality?
I think boundaries are a gift. If an actor has a boundary that doesn't seem to align with what the production needs, that asks me to get my creative juices going. So then I look at, okay, well, what's the story we're actually trying to tell? And what are the boundaries? And how can I tell that story within that actor's boundaries? So then I would take some options back to a director and say, hey, we've got a boundary here, but here are 3 or 4 options for how I think we could tell that story that would be just as compelling. And often being asked to stretch our brains in that way, our creativity, ends up being a much more unique and cool story and something it's less likely that we've seen. So I actually love it when that happens.
Brooke Haney, author of The Intimacy Coordinator's Guidebook, joins us for the Rocking 8. Brooke, all this is 8 random questions. Answer with the first thing that comes to your mind. There's no pressure.
Okay, great. I love it.
You're from New York, so what's your favorite Broadway show?
Currently, it is, Bonnie Milligan in Kimberly Akimbo.
How about the best thing about your dog, Indigo?
Indigo. Oh, the best thing about her are her cuddles.
Oh. Favorite bite you had when you were in Paris?
Cheese.
What kind of cheese?
All of it. I love cheese so much. It was probably a brie or something. I don't even know. I'll eat any cheese. Any cheese.
What's the one thing you won't mind paying extra for?
Coffee.
Good coffee and cheese. That's appropriate.
Also cheese, yeah. Yeah, good coffee. Yeah.
How about your favorite course at Vassar?
Oh, I taught at Vassar, actually. I did intimacy coordinator there. So I guess I was always on a show. I worked on Fun Home. That was my favorite. Fun Home. Oh, so great. It was actually the first time I got to see lesbian sex on stage, and I was choreographing it.
Where is the best place to think in New York?
In the woods, in nature. There's I live by where the World's Fair was, and there's this nature conservancy there, and I can walk there from my apartment, and I love to go there if I need to think. That or the treadmills at Planet Fitness. I actually wrote my book, The Intimacy Coordinator's Guidebook, primarily on those treadmills because moving helps me think, and it was like a standing desk for free.
My favorite place to think was always Alley Pond Park.
I love Alley Pond.
How about your favorite color of roses?
Yellow.
Funniest question you ever asked your parents growing up?
I think I was a big why kid. Why?
It's time for the back half with the author of The Intimacy Coordinator's Guidebook, Brooke Haney, beyond the mic. Brooke, many TV and film stars have fallen in love on set because of the closeness of their characters and how close they get during shooting. How does intimacy coordinators and coaches differ, and how do you balance getting the shot And sometimes real emotions kick in.
It's so interesting that you used coach and coordinator in that sentence, because an intimacy coach is someone who coaches actual couples in their bedroom about their sex life. And an intimacy coordinator is someone who coaches fake couples about fake sex on camera. So yeah, I think it is natural when we put our bodies in the positions of passion and we're doing the things that make our serotonin go bing, 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 that actors do sometimes fall for each other. But the goal of an intimacy coordinator is to provide choreography so that it's just the job. We are not encouraging any kind of relationships. And I think that's a competency of intimacy coordinators. It's part of why I started the book with what are the competencies that every intimacy coordinator needs before we move on to specialties, which are those more specialized things like working with minors, prosthetics, BDSM, queer intimacy, Black American intimacy.
Brooke, if you want people to gain one thing from the Intimacy Coordinator's Guidebook, what is it?
I want them to think about that not every intimacy coordinator is right for every project. You need to find out what that person's skills actually are, what their specialties are, because the goal is to tell the best story. And you need the right coordinator and choreographer in order to tell the best story.
It's time for One Big Question with author of the Intimacy Coordinator's Guidebook, Brooke Haney, be on the mic. You were on the Leadership Council for Shining Hope for Communities Helping the Urban Poor. If you could help the homeless with one important change, what is it?
Housing, I think. I mean, I don't consider myself an expert in this. Shining Hope is an amazing organization run by Kennedy Odede. And one of the reasons that it works is because Kennedy's from Kenya, which is where it's based. And he grew up there and he knows how to make it work. And yeah, but I think housing, we need affordable housing. It's too prohibitive in our country and everywhere to have housing.
Brooke, where can people find more about the guidebook?
The guidebook is available anywhere books are sold. I super recommend that you get it from your local independent bookstore. And you can also find it on my website at brookemhaney.com or on my Instagram at Brooke M Haney.
She will pay anything, almost anything for cheese and good coffee, loves yellow roses, and wants you to read the Intimacy Coordinator's Guidebook. Brooke Haney, thanks for taking the time to talk with us today.
Thank you so much, Sean. It was great chatting with you.
And that, my friends, is Beyond the Mic Shortcut. If you're enjoying these conversations, please check out another Beyond the Mic episode to find more actors, artists, and people you need to know. We'd also appreciate a like and subscribe on the Good Pods app.